DuckTalks is part of Res TV's network of podcasts. Check out res.tv for other great podcasts.
According to the JWG, we're off the tip of Greece, and... Wait, this can't be right. I thought it was a myth.
What? What is this place?
It's a quack.
No. We can't go. No.
Hey, it's the week of Friday, May the 11th, and you're listening to episode 22 of DuckTalks. Hey, thanks for listening to our show, and we hope you're enjoying Duck Week. Actually, the first Duck Week. I wonder if there'll be Duck Weeks every year. This is the part where Mitch stops and just contemplates things like this. But that's not what we're going to do, because we got way too much to talk about. We're going to get started. As I said already, I'll just go ahead and say it again. This is Duck Talks. It's a podcast. It's a podcast about Ducktales. If you haven't figured that out yet, now you know. And this week, we've got a ton to talk about, and I've already said that. So let's get started. Hey, Pirate, you with me?
I am. Ahoy there. Pirate Steven here. I'm here to talk about Ducks and DuckTales, the greatest show ever to be rebooted. Let's talk about some DuckTales.
Yeah, it's been great having episodes on every day of the week. We've enjoyed watching it on the TV. We've had to watch it on our tablets a few times so that my wife could watch The Voice. But other than that, we've been able to watch the show. And man, Friday night was amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so they did release the episode on the Disney Now app, and also on Disney On Demand on my. I was able to pull it up on my DVR a couple of hours before it aired on the Disney Channel. So I was able to do a little sneak preview there. But it's amazing. I've seen the new episode at least 10 times. It's ridiculous how I'm already caught up to how many times I've seen all the other episodes. It's just fun to watch. If I'm up late night feed-ins with the baby, I'm watching DuckTales, Spear of Selene. In the morning when the kids wake up, that's what we're watching. So it's been a crazy week of Spear of Selene here. And I'm sure the next episode will be on constantly as well.
From some of the previews I've seen, it may be the most watched in our house once that episode comes out.
It looks really, really good. I can't wait for that one, but let's talk. How do you want to go about talking about the new episode?
Yeah, so we'll get into the new episode towards the end of the podcast, and the main reason for that is we want to give spoiler warnings. So we're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about the Duck merch that's coming out or is out, and everything going on with all of that. And then after we've done that, and we're going to read a couple of emails. After we've done that, we'll give another spoiler warning, and then we'll go into the episode. And that's going to be our basic format moving forward, as the show is now back on television. So let's jump into an email.
We need like a "you got mail."
Yeah, I do need to find something like that. Okay, we've got mail. What do you think of the moon theme from the DuckTales game? Do you think it will be on the reboot? And do you think they will make a game for the reboot on consoles? If so, do you think it will have the DuckTales remastered style? Will DuckTales have a Disney crossover game that includes Goof Troop, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, all in reboots? It'd be fun to have Goofy and Max in DuckTales as guests. This was from Green Soda.
Green Soda is a Team Louie fan, so I salute that person.
Yeah, Green Soda's been following us for a while, and we've had some conversations with them.
So it's a great question. I mean, the Moon soundtrack from that level on the original DuckTales NES game is classic. I mean, Ben Schwartz says that is one of his ringtones or his alarm that wakes him up in the morning. It's a classic rendition, you should definitely check it out either by playing the game, because it was recently on sale in the PlayStation store for like only $5.99. So if you don't have it, please go get it. But it's just a great. I put my kids to sleep sometimes with that as a good like nursery rhyme. It's just so classically NES 8-bit style music. I would love to see that as a Easter egg in an episode. Or I said on Twitter, I would love to see some kind of episode where Scrooge, Donald, and the boys get sucked into a classic 8-bit game. I mean, there'd be so many cameo and throwback opportunities for the original NES game. It'd be my favorite episode by far.
Yeah, and the game that's currently on the PlayStation Store is the Disney Afternoon Collection. So it's going to have the 8-bit look and all the music. It's actually got a soundtrack in the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can just go track by track to hear all the music.
Yeah, so for $5.99, you get the 4 games. You can check that out and listen to it. There's also a lot of Spotify playlists that include the Moon theme. It's one of those, it's one of those songs, or it's music that has inspired a lot of people that are maybe independent and have done their own stuff. So there's a lot of tracks out there to the Moon theme. Smooth McGroove version of the song is one of my favorite. I play that on Spotify a lot. But yeah, the Moon theme would be great. And I think when we talk about some of the storyline with DuckTales, the reboot that's going on where we've got Della, and we've been talking about the Spear of Selene's, and if you didn't know, or if we hadn't seen the connection before this week's episode, Selene is the goddess of the moon. So there's some connections there that may actually lead into us getting that song on the show. Not to mention that, like you said, some of the actors and also Frank, the co-producer of the show, and Matt have said they both love the Moon theme. So I do. I expect it in the show. As far as a game, we've talked about this a lot in our own personal discussions. Yes, we would like a video game.
Yeah, and I mean, E3 is coming up in June. We haven't heard anything DuckTales related. Nothing's been leaked. So I wouldn't expect anything this year. We'll see how the popularity of the show continues. And, Disney doesn't really make console games anymore. It seems like it's all aimed towards the mobile scene. So we'll see. It'll be a great surprise if they did something console-wise.
Yeah, it's something that if there was enough interest, we might see it licensed out. Capcom did the previous games, right? The NES games. So, maybe that's something they'd be interested in getting a license for. What kind of game would you like to see for DuckTales?
I mean, I love the classic platformer. I think that'd be great for DuckTales. I mean, even if they wanted to do some like a DuckTales kart game, I think that'd be fun. Mm-hmm. There's so many different characters that they could do for that.
Yeah, I'd like to see an open world, not really an open world, I guess just a three-dimensional game where you're moving around and you can go in all different directions, and maybe you have Duckburg, and maybe you have St. Canard, and somewhere in Egypt, and all these locations of rainforest. And you could probably even do all of the locations that we had in the original game. But something like that I think would be a lot of fun. But I think it's more likely we're going to see mobile games, and it really does. It does seem that Disney likes to put their games on their existing apps right now. So there are a few games for DuckTales on the Disney Now app. Now, I know everyone all over the world doesn't have access to Disney Now. Is that U.S. only?
I'm not sure the territories, but yeah, I've heard a couple other. I don't know if it's good in the UK, but I've heard other people say they aren't able to access it.
Yeah. There are quite a few games on there, though, so you can check those out if you're looking to play, if you're in the U.S. I'm not sure about anywhere else. So, but yeah, we hope to see some games. We're game for that.
DuckTales have been in Emoji Blitz. They have been in Crossy Roads. So it's my guess is they'll add them to the Disney Tsum Tsum app. But yeah, it seems like it's an app world at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love maybe they'll reboot Disney Infinity and throw DuckTales in there. That would be the end goal, but I don't see it happening at this point.
Yeah. Huey, Dewey, and Louie were in my top 5 for that game. We always, for people who aren't in the know, we always had top 5s or top 10s of the characters that you wished were in the game. And I wanted them together, combined, so that like the model was all 3, but they worked together. Thinking more towards, the original show. But anyway. And then, we'd like to see, reboots of Tailspin. I think we're going to get a little bit of stuff from Tailspin in upcoming episodes and of DuckTales. And I also believe we're going to get some Darkwing Duck. So I think we'll see that. As far as Goof Troop with Max and Goofy, we'll see. I mean, Spoonerville was mentioned in the premiere episode.
Yeah, I really feel like this is just like Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think this is like a Disney afternoon television animation universe. And I would love to see, I mean, DuckTales is popular. There's all these crossovers that we know are happening soon with the Air Pirates and Don Carnage and Darkwing Duck and such. So it'd be great to see those shows get rebooted as well and have cameos all the time and share this whole world. I think that'd be my favorite end goal for that as well.
Yep, that all sounds great. That's going to be a lot of fun to see what they do. I think it's a possibility. I mean, can't rule it out. So let's look at the next email. This email is from Casey. Casey says, as McDonald's and Disney have partnered up again for promotional tie-ins, what would the DuckTales Happy Meal toys be like? He's got a really long email, so we're going to break it down a little bit. I think traditionally Happy Meals, well, let's not say traditionally. Let's look at recent, because we have kids, so we see Happy Meals. A lot of times they're the backpack hangers and something more interactive, like a lot of times they'll have the little thing that you scan and do something on a mobile device.
Yeah, or there'll be, just pull back toys or spin-in toys or toys with lights. I know whenever there's a Pokemon or a Nintendo type promotion for McDonald's, we usually go and they'll let you just buy the toys as well. So we'd definitely be down and doing that for DuckTales if that happens.
He also asked which characters should be included in each run, as more than one run will most likely occur. Optimistic.
That's very specific, yeah.
Uh-huh. And to add to that question, should Bubba and Tootsie have Happy Meal toys when they debut?
I'm gonna say, yeah, of course they should. If they do classic DuckTales at all, they still got to make an appearance in the reboot to be Happy Meal toy worthy. In at least round 1, like he says, for these Happy Meal toys. So you know what, Tootsie and Bubba are definitely great characters. We're gonna have to see where they would fit in, and what is eventually announced if they do have DuckTales Happy Meals.
He also asks, on top of that, which characters do you think will know that Fenton is Gizmo Duck in the new series? I recall that Webby and the boys each got a turn to use the Gizmo suit in New Gizmo Kids on the Block. Should Bubba get a chance to don it this time around following his debut? So as far as who will know, I think they're going to keep that secret hidden this time. Scrooge never knew, at least not that we know of, in the original show, right? I mean, when I look back on some of those episodes, I think he knew, but he never admitted to knowing.
Well, maybe Launchpad will know because there seems to be a lot of Launchpad in that episode.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep it. I think they're going to keep it hidden. I think it'll be a mystery for the rest of the characters, one that we're in on, so we get to enjoy that. There's been a lot of clips in the last few days. I guess it was like with Good Morning America, where Lin-Manuel Miranda was on, and they were talking about the show, and they played a few clips. And his character looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Frank also mentioned recently that we're going to love Fenton's mom, which she was a part of the classic DuckTales as well. So it's going to be interesting to see that character and who the voice is for that one.
Casey, thanks for the email. We appreciate all the emails that we get. And if you want to send an email with your questions or just a topic that you'd like for us to talk about, you can send that at ducktalkspod@gmail.com. Now for the news. So I think the first thing we're going to talk about in the news, because is a ton of DuckTales news right now, is the opening pitch. You saw this, right? I mean, you didn't watch it live, but you saw it on social media.
Yes. So I guess to kick off Duck Week, they had Scrooge McDuck and Launchpad throw out the first pitch for the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Chicago Cubs game this past weekend. And it looked like a lot of fun. I haven't seen actual video of it. It was more just stills, and they had a promotional shot of Scrooge McDuck and Launchpad. And Scrooge McDuck is Don in his classic red suit, which is more in line to what is on the new DuckTales show. So that is a cool new Scrooge McDuck that people will be able to have meet and greets with at the Disney park. So I'm looking forward to that later this month.
Yeah, apparently when this took place, it was a complete surprise. I don't know that they advertised this at all. We had not seen anything for it. And the people that were posting about it were mostly on Instagram that I've seen. And they were very excited about having DuckTales there. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people there didn't even know that the show was back on because of just some of the excitement that I've seen and the surprise. But this is really cool. These characters, you were talking about the new design for Scrooge. We also saw today that they showed up at the Disney animation offices, or at least that's where I imagine this took place, because a lot of people on the show have been posting pictures all day with the characters. Also in the news, a blog from this morning, we shared the news that it looks like DuckTales issue 9 from IDW may not release this month. Now, it was scheduled to release sometime in the middle of May. That's when the issues have been releasing. But currently on Comixology, it's listed as being released on June 27th. Now, that's also the same date that issue 10 is said to be released on Comixology. We'll see. It's a possibility. The thing about this, last month's issue 8, actually had a last-minute change in the story. They pulled story B, because, you know, these comics have a story A and a story B. They pulled story B, which had a cover and everything, and they changed it to another story that was supposed to be released in a future issue. And that was said to have been done because it was said to have been done because it may or may not contain a spoiler for a future episode. So obviously it contained a spoiler for a future episode. But it looks like maybe where the show has taken such a long break that the comics having to try and take a step back, because the comics kept coming out each and every month with during the hiatus.
Yeah, I feel like that happened to me with the Darkwing comic, where I thought something was being released and it got pushed back a different month. So it's a comic world. Sometimes that happens. I'm just glad they're still producing them.
Oh, yeah. And there are, I think, 3 or 4 more issues already loaded on Comixology as far as them showing what's coming out next. So they're not going anywhere. They're just trying to let the show catch up. Now, this is also going to be considered news. We kind of already talked about next week's episode a little bit, but just to be specific, next week's episode, that's this week. Because when you're listening to this evening at 8 p.m. or earlier, maybe on the Disney app. Or
it's on Disney On Demand and Disney Now already. Yeah,
we watched it early as well. Our kids' bedtime's around 8 o'clock, so getting to watch it early was great. But this week, the episode is Beware the Buddy System. That is, from everything we're seeing online, going to be the debut of Fenton Crackshell Cabrera. And possibly, I believe I have said contrary to this before, but I'm going to say now, it does look like we'll get Gizmo Duck in this episode. I'd be surprised if we didn't.
It's true. From the trailers, it looks like Gizmo Duck is in it. So,
and we're also expecting to see Darkwing in this episode. Maybe not the character, but we're going to get some Darkwing in this episode.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a tease.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I'm as excited as I was about the show returning with Spear of Selene and about that storyline continuing. I'm twice as excited about this episode because I think this new Gizmo Duck is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hyping it up. Anything else on that?
No, I think this is this would probably be, is this like the half season episode as well? Maybe episode, was it 12, 13?
It's 11, I think. We had 9. Selene would have been 10.
Yeah.
So we're there.
Yeah, I think this is a great episode, like a turn of the season. I think this is going to be this might be the one that wins an Emmy. It's a bold statement because I haven't seen it yet, but I think introducing these new characters in it, I think they're going to be very popular. We already know they're coming out of a Halloween costume at Gizmo Duck, so he's going to definitely be a popular character for the show.
Hey, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's keep moving through news. We've also got this AR experience that was released today. It's with an app called, see if I can say that. It's with an app called Pundit Stickers. You've downloaded this, right?
I've downloaded it. I haven't played with it yet. I've seen a lot of people posting videos on Twitter using these AR stickers, and the videos come out really, really nice. We both of us have downloaded the iTunes stickers pack featuring DuckTales, which is really fun. They swap stickers back and forth.
We use that a lot
during the text. So it's just cool to see another thing. I'm guessing a Snapchat will app something DuckTales related will eventually come as well. But yeah, I have yet to play with this one yet. Pundit Stickers.
So I've downloaded it. Me and the girls were playing with it earlier, but it doesn't, like, it's made, I think, to work with Instagram. It did not like Twitter. But yeah, it was a lot of fun playing with the 3D animations. Some of the stickers are AR experiences where they're 3D, and then some of them are 2D, so they're like a flat image that you can put on whatever's on your camera. But it will be more fun to play with it in the future, and once I figure out how to use it. I haven't spent a lot of time with it, like you said.
And it's free.
It's free, so go get it. And the DuckTales stuff's a limited time. I don't know how that works because I didn't have to download any of them, so I don't know if they're just on the app for a limited time. So if you want to play with this, go ahead and download it. It's free while it's available. All right. Well, that's borderline duck merch, so let's go into that.
We got duck merch. Woo-hoo.
Disney Store. Am I right?
Yeah, we've been refreshing the DuckTales search on the Disney Store. so many times, and it always brought up the number 37 items. And finally, we got to 50 items in the DuckTales section of the Disney Store website. So that was exciting.
There's so much duck merch out there.
And you know what? This is the and I have a tendency of going overboard and excessive for stuff. So definitely went here as well. But this is just the start of it. So if there's going to be so much more stuff released. So I don't do what Pirate does. Pace yourself, because this is a cross country race. It's not a sprint. So
all right, spill it. What all have you bought so far?
Oh man, so much. Well, okay. So here's the problem. I definitely needed the 4, and there's been so many times where, I'll wait for something to go on sale, and play that and roll the dice and play that game. But I've missed out on so many things by doing that. So I needed to have the 4 main plushes. I believe they retail for $15. So it's a lot of plush. Webby, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So I have those, and those I feel like they're in my household. They're going to be community shared amongst my kids and myself. Mm-hmm. But then we got to the Tsum Tsums that were released in the UK earlier or last month. And I have each one of my kids and myself have a Tsum Tsum type collection. So I had to buy myself one that they're not allowed to touch. And I have that collection. That's going to go with my Rescue Rangers one that I got from Japan. And I'm going to eventually do an unboxing and post that to blog as well. But I wanted to have my own pristine set. And then my kids have been, they Google stuff all the time that doesn't exist, and it pops up, and they just happen to Google DuckTales and Tsum Tsums and have seen these before, like beliefs in the case. So they've known about them and begged me for them.
You were on the hook for these.
And they love these things so much that, I just went overboard and I bought 3 sets of the freaking Tsum Tsums. So they're going to have to earn them somehow.
There you go.
Maybe like as they graduate to the next school level, that could be their present, which... That's a
good idea.
Like that is a good... I feel like that is worth it. But yeah, I went overboard and I got myself the plush set and a couple of Tsum Tsum sets. So.
These are $6 each, right?
Yeah.
And there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
So $30 gift for, successfully completing a grade in school. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. So that is what I'm on the hook for at the beginning. Some of the other items that were released were there was a new kids shirt, a nice teal color.
It is a nice shirt. Yeah. I actually had it in my hands. I was going to get it for the girls, and they both said, but we want the Webby shirt.
Yeah, so the shirts, I feel like I can wait on. I might be able to get down the line because Disney Store does have some wonderful sales. And then once they have free shipping, that's something I have a hard time resisting. But there is a new kid shirt that's great. There's a kid's pajama set that is pretty fun. And then I think the other item, besides all the new plush, was a kid's puzzle, 48-piece puzzle. So that's quite a good start to the DuckTales merchandise to get to throw, because you don't want to overflood and put like, we went from 37 to 50 items and just have like 100 items on there.
Yeah.
All for DuckTales. You want to push it out gradually. It's a series, so they can just put stuff out every now and then. So I feel like this was a good start.
Yeah, we had heard on Sunday. Well, when I say we had heard, we called and spoke with some cast members. We had heard that our store had the puzzle. So we headed to the mall, which is where our Disney store is. It's in a mall. and the puzzle was gone. They had sold out. I did not think to ask for them to hold one, so that's on me. But but yeah, they didn't. They no longer had the puzzle. I don't know how many they had, but they did have some shirts. I posted on my Twitter. I got the Darkwing mug, and which has been out for a while, but not in my area. Every time I've gone, they've been sold out. So I got the Darkwing mug, and I also got the McDuck Industry shirt. Got that?
Yeah, I love that one, and you got that one on sale too, so you got a great price.
Well, it's on sale now as well. The McDuck Industry shirt and that teal kid shirt are buy one get one right now. I don't know if that's in store and online, but you could always check with your store and see. But those are good deals.
One of the cool things I love about the Disney store is if you go to the store and they don't have an item in stock, but it is online, they will order it for you through the store and give you free shipping to have that item sent to your house. I've used that a couple of times. I know when the school backpacks come out, and my kid always wants whatever the latest Disney one is. If we wait too long, it's not there, but it's available on the website. They'll just order it and have it sent to me for free.
I bet we get DuckTales backpacks this year.
Yeah, I feel like that is definitely a possibility.
As far as the plush go in my area, the cast member at my store said that they weren't on the shipping list. But I checked yesterday online because now the plush, you can look up store availability, and they do show up in my store. So I'm hoping they got them and just weren't expecting them. Haven't got by there yet.
Yeah, and you remember how many times we went by there before they were released and struck out? Mm-hmm. So you need to get over there. You need to do some blog entries on these plush and get that out there.
How long does it normally take for you to get something from Disney Store when you order online?
I think about a week. So I got a shipping. I ordered 2 days ago, and I got a shipping confirmation today. So I'm guessing that sometime next week, I'll have a nice box of plush.
Nice large box.
Yeah.
With about 50 items in it.
It's true.
Well, that's great. So, we've already seen a lot of pictures of people sharing their plush. We've not seen any pictures of the Zoom Zooms yet. I don't know if they're in stores yet. They are available online.
I feel like Disney, because Disney went all in on Zoom Zooms, and they had monthly releases. I know next month they're having the Incredibles 2 release, but they weren't releasing them in the stores. They were making them online only. So I have a feeling the DuckTales ones will be online only because you're not really seeing them, that much of them in the stores anymore. It's kind of like they're phasing them out for me in the stores.
Yeah, they're trying those round plush, whatever they are. You know what I'm talking about? They're like the shape of a ball.
Yeah, I don't know the name of them, but
I like the Zoom Zoom. I thought it was a good idea, and especially the little segments that they do on the channel with them. They made them fun.
Yeah, it's cute. I mean, it's good interaction. A stackable plush that, you could fit a whole bunch of them on a shelf.
Well, keep an eye out for those and let us know when you find yours. We'd love to see pictures. You can send those at DuckTalks on Twitter.
Yeah, and let us know what you got, what your Disney afternoon, your DuckTales haul looks like from this Duck Week.
Other merchandise that we have in our notes, we've talked about this before. There's a new DVD planned for release. It's called DuckTales Destination Adventure. No news on what's on this DVD other than we have heard that it's got 2 previously unreleased episodes of the original show, along with whatever else is on the DVD. It showed up at Target.com with a image of the box art with no date, no information. It does say it's $9.99, so it's the same price as the premiere DVD was. But you said you found it on Best Buy's website and it included a release date of June 5th.
Yes, that's correct.
So be on the lookout for that. I'm sure it's going to have at least 2 episodes of the new show. It's what Woo, the premiere release, was. So I could see that happening. It could, and then these 2, because Woo has a couple of short clips. I guess there was like 6 short clips on it, 5 or 6, and a couple of other things. So it had some extras. Maybe instead of extras, they're releasing these episodes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the unreleased episodes are from the classic DuckTales.
Yeah, because there's quite a few. All right. Well, that does it for news and Duck merch and emails for this week. Now we're going to move on to talking about the current episode of DuckTales. Now, we're recording this on Wednesday, May the 9th. The Spear of Selene actually aired last Friday. And so you've had a lot of time to watch that episode, but maybe something's happened and you haven't been able to. If that's the case, you might want to stop listening now, because everything else moving forward is going to be spoilers. So there's your spoiler warning. Let's talk about this episode. Now, this is kind of new for us because, I don't know, what did we do? 2 or 3 episodes of DuckTalks where there was actually an episode to discuss?
Yeah, it was very minimal.
For the most part, the majority of our 20-something episodes have consisted of news and merch. And a lot of talking.
People love the hiatus news.
Right?
The blog was going crazy the past few months. Just hungry for news about the show.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, though. It dipped down once that news came out, and now it's kind of risen back up again. So we really appreciate that. And, we hope to continue to provide you with news and information about the show. But on the Spear of Selene, we've been... Pirate Steven and I have been talking about what we could do as far as a format for talking about the episodes. And we wanted to do something that was kind of fun. So we came up with this idea of a 30-second recap for the episode. So what we're going to do each week is we're going to pick a number between 1 and 2. And when Josh is on or we have someone else on, we'll increase the number by how many people's on the show. And then I've got a random generator up. And so we will utilize this random generator to decide. Pulling it up right now. We'll use this random generator to decide who will do the 30-second recap. Now, the challenge is to recap the episode in 30 seconds. We won't cut you off, but you'll find out that you didn't make it if you don't make it. And I just thought it'd be a fun way to do it. So, you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let me pull up my notes just in case it's me.
I hope you get picked.
Oh, do you? There's no enthusiasm behind that of, I've got this, I hope I get picked.
Well, I've got it regardless, but yeah, let's see what the randomizer says.
All right. So, pick a number between 1 and 2.
Between 1.5? All right, 2.
2. All right. Generator says 1.
That's you.
That's me. All right, so I'm pulling up my stopwatch. All right, so here is my 30-second recap of the Spear of Selene. Launchpad is flying the DuckTales family through a storm. Webby and Dewey sabotage the flight to land on the island of Ithquack. Donald and Scrooge want to leave, but Launchpad says he has to check the plane. The kids run out to explore. Webby and Dewey plan to search the temple for clues about Della Duck. The rest run into Storkyles and Zeus. Storkyles believes Donald is his best friend. Zeus believes Scrooge is the reason people don't believe him to be the king of parties anymore. Zeus challenges Scrooge's family against his. Team Scrooge wins. Zeus cheats. Louis saves the day. Dewey and Webby meet Selene and find out there's greater mystery, Spear of Selene. 32.86.
32. Nice. Here, just for fun, do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, tell me when to go.
All right, go.
Okay, this is an adventure episode in the Della Duck storyline. Webby and Dewey are searching for the spear of Selene to find Della Duck. Launchpad and Donald are included in this episode, which means it is awesome. Everything is fine light flashes. Launchpad crashes on Ithaquack. Storkules and Donald are BFFs. Zeus is the god of hospitality. There's a contest. You never trust a creepy singing kid. Louie saves the day as usual. Hashtag Team Louie. Better safe than the opposite of safe. Is... I was done.
You made it. I mean, like, right at 30 seconds. That was perfect.
Yes.
I think it's funny that we both included Louis saves the day.
He does. I'm telling you. Best nephew.
Best nephew. So this was a great episode. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, we've all been hungry for an episode, and this one did not disappoint. I think the thing that I got most out of this one is I'm amazed. I'm constantly amazed by the show and how a classic character such as Donald Duck, who's been around since 1934, they're really developing his character even more, and we're learning more about Donald Duck from this show that is so long from when he started. And it's great to see his character more fleshed out, and you're finding out more about him, and he's this adventurer, and I think people are going to be bigger Donald fans because of this show. Every other Donald episode or short cartoon you saw was like the chipmunks would pick on him, or his nephews would drive him crazy, and you can see in these episodes where the kids might drive him crazy, but he loves them for that. So I love that it fleshes out his character. And this episode had Launchpad in it, and he had some of the best lines, and he was only in it for like a minute.
He has the best lines. Most of the lines that I wrote down from this episode are Launchpad lines, but you're right. I really like Donald's arc and his story in DuckTales. You can tell that, you know, the people working on this show are very fond of the character, and they not only did they want to include him, because, you know, that was a big deal when DuckTales was first announced, the reboot. You know, the original show shied away from Donald. They were afraid he would steal the spotlight. They were afraid kids wouldn't understand him. There were a number of reasons why they left him off the show and just brought him in every now and then for a story or two. But with the reboot, they've really embraced the character, and like you said, they've taken him to a whole new level that I don't think anyone expected. And I think we're going to continue to see that. I mean, this episode was kind of, I mean, it was a really emotional episode when you look at Donald's story, and I think they did a great job of conveying that on a level that kids can get, and like you said, adults can say, I've never really looked at Donald in this light. You know,
yeah, all you knew from his personality was that he got hot-headed and he got mad and has a temper, but
and he has all the bad luck.
Yeah, no one but Donald Duck. He is. I feel like a lot of people can relate to him now.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Besides the anger issues, I mean, but it's. I think he is a great. The old DuckTales, he was just kind of like a cameo. Hey, I'm here, Donald Duck. But he is really a great part of the show, and I love that he is included.
And one thing that I thought was hilarious about this episode is we went in knowing from promos and things that we've seen that Dewey and Webby were searching after the Spear of Selene, or information on the Spear of Selene. So we thought we were going to get information about the Spear of Selene from their story, and we don't. But we get information about Della from Donald's story because we learn more about what has taken place, just from what he's not willing to say.
Yeah, and I love... So this is one of my favorite episodes so far. It's up there with the other one, which is the House of Lucky Gander, which I feel like is on the same like layout as this one as far as story goes. Because, yeah, this one had Launchpad and Donald. So did the House of Lucky Gander. Each one of the characters had their own like feature and funny lines in it, and so did this one. So I love these type of episodes, the adventure episodes where all of the characters get funny lines and their time to shine.
Yeah. One thing I'd meant for us to cover before, and we're kind of, like I said, getting used to this whole reviewing episodes thing as I hit my mic. But one thing I wanted us to talk about was the behind the scenes of this episode. So this story was written by Madison Bateman, and it was directed by Dana Terrace. Now they've both been involved in episodes before. They're part of the team, and I think they've done a marvelous job on this episode. It's definitely high on my list. I don't know that I can pick favorites anymore. I have a hard time separating them into even a top 5, but this is definitely one of my favorites. The show just keeps getting better, but they did a great job on this episode. Now Dana has a new project that she's working on, so I don't know how many episodes out in season 1 she did, but I mean, can't wait to see what she does on this new show.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the new characters, and we'll talk about their voice actors as well. So let's start with the first new character that we're introduced to, and that's Storkules. What did you think about Storkules?
He's an interesting character. I mean, it's great to see other types of birds, so stork was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. He's kind of an idiot, but it's a cool character.
Scrooge said that for sure.
Yeah. I forgot what his exact line was, but it's funny. Yeah, I liked him as a character. I don't know how recurrent he will be, but I like that he thinks he's BFFs with Donald. I thought that was a good storyline, and that he obviously has met and knows Della Duck. I love it. I feel like out of all the new characters, I feel like Zeus being the god of hospitality was funny.
Yeah, and both those characters were hilarious. I thought the introduction for Storkules was really good. Earlier in the day, Frank had tweeted out that introduction, and just you get that real heroic vibe, like you should, I guess, from this Greek god-like character. But it was a lot of fun seeing him come in. Like you said, he considers himself Donald's best friend, and Donald's like, we're acquaintances. We've hung out, but I don't know your last name or anything. But the character was voiced by Chris, and I should have practiced this name, Diamantopoulos. If that name doesn't sound familiar, you probably are familiar with his work. I know you are, because he voices Mickey Mouse in the Mickey Mouse shorts. So last week we were talking about that animation connection that we weren't sure of. That's it. It's that the voice of Donald and the voice of Mickey were in this episode together.
Very cool.
And then Zeus is, of course, Michael. Is it Chiklis? I think that's how I've always said it. Sure.
We'll grant you that, yes.
But
that's right.
Yeah, he's been on Gotham, been one of the more current shows that he was on. He also was on The Shield, and he played the Thing in the Fantastic Four movies. Fantastic Four and then Rise of the Silver Surfer. Those were Fox. Yeah, Fox movies.
Now owned by Disney.
Now, in the process. But yeah, it's
So yeah, that's where I would. I think my kids would recognize him from as well. He's the Thing in the Fantastic Four movies.
But man, Zeus was great. I mean, just this, not able to let it go at all. So the story is that at some point, Scrooge and his family, who Zeus did not have anything nice to say about, showed up and just showed the Greek gods how it's done. Just took care of a bad guy, took care of everything, and created a party. And after that, Zeus never was able to get over it. I don't know if everyone looked at him differently, or if he just looked at himself differently. But he was ready for a rematch when Scrooge showed up on his island.
Yeah, he's a funny character, and that was Matt, the other co-producer's favorite character. He was saying was Zeus.
And the character design's really cool for both of these. I mean, they're really hulking type characters, which is, different from our main cast. But, I did think it was odd that, and I mentioned this when we were talking about Lucky Gander as well, but if Storkules is a stork and he's the son of Zeus, Zeus is a duck. That's just weird. But it is a cartoon.
Yeah, I feel like another underrated new character is that scorpion with the lion head.
Was that not cool? That was the first screenshot I took.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool design. And we haven't even got into the whole Webby and Dewey going on this mission. They had a lot of comic relief trying to find the actual spear of Selene.
Yeah, because they first find the sword of Selene.
Yeah, I think my favorite part was when they found the monster with the sphere of Poseidon.
Yeah,
and he insults the monster, and Dewey comes back and says, "You know what? I'm sure you're attractive by monster standards." And the monster's like, "No,
not really, but it's okay. I appreciate it." Yeah, no, that was great. And then, of course, they do find their way to the replica of the island of Ithaca. It was one of the images we discussed last week. Was Webby on this model, and they're able to get to the garden of Selene, which of course should lead to all kinds of information about Della, right? I mean, that's what we were expecting. Did you notice that Webby's using a Waddle phone?
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, her phone, it had the Waddle emblem on the back. It's kind of a red phone, too, so she's got the red Waddle.
Nice.
Selene, who is the goddess of the moon, is played by Nia oh, man, I'm going to butcher this. Hold on. Nia Vardalos. And she's familiar from... well, I don't watch Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Have you ever watched it?
I love the previews for the show. I have not dove into that yet. I know her from My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yep, that's the other one I was going to mention because I know her from that. But it was a good character to introduce us to because she's best friends with Della.
Yeah. And
she gives the most insight into the character I guess we've seen so far.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good episode as far in the Della storyline, but I don't think we're going to see Della stories in the next 3 new episodes. So I wonder when we're going to get the next one.
Yeah, in the rest of this month, I don't think there's anything that will show up unless we get, maybe just a little morsel in the buddy system.
It's possible, but I feel like that episode is going to be completely packed with all the new content for Fenton and Gizmo Duck.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover in that episode. So what'd you think about the games that they played? The competition that they had? Because, Storkules was like, hey, let's just chill out, after Zeus has confronted Scrooge. And he's like, let's just chill out. Let's do a few things. Let's hang out. Let's play some games. Actually, no, they break out into a feast, which is like potato chips and stuff. And after Scrooge kind of disses on the meal, that's when the games get brought up. And Storkules is trying to just have a good time, and his dad's like, it's going to be a competition.
I like how Donald kept winning the competitions when he didn't want to play.
He's trying to get out of it, and he keeps winning.
Yeah, and then steal it. Was it? Did they say a mane, or what did they call the fleece? Steal the fleece from the child at the end was funny because I love how Louie is like, I can steal it. I'm a kid too.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and then he ends up, smooth talking her into a singing career.
Yeah, and then her voice isn't that great at the end. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I did look that up. The voice actor was the same person who did the monster, I think. And then the one who was doing the singing is the voice of Sophia the First, which is a Disney Junior show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that she's also a Modern Family.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was great. I love the way they worked everything out. And then, of course, Scrooge is like, well, listen, is that the only thing that's ever going to make you get over this is if you win? So he throws a game.
Yep, and then Dewey comes in and then wins against them at the end.
Oh, yeah, with the sphere of Selene, which was a hilarious joke where he's frustrated because he's asking about the spear of Selene, and Selene's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you asking about the sphere of Selene? And, of course, that actually, that sphere gives us our first animation of Della, because we've not seen her animated or moving. I mean, we've seen the painting of her and a couple of paintings of her. But we see her with her family on Ithaca.
Yeah.
Or I keep calling it Ithaca. It's Ithaquack.
That's the name of it. So this episode, I loved it, but I thought I read some reviews where people, I mean, it had its haters and people that were expecting a little bit more. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I could see that. I could see people expecting more just because they didn't know what to expect. It's kind of like that whole The Last Jedi thing. People had that story written out in their head so many different ways and expected so many different things. And Rian Johnson came in and gave something that nobody expected. And so I think that's where some of the backlash comes from. And one of the first people that I asked was someone in the Discord chat who had been really excited about this episode and has a ton of theories on what's going on with the Spear of Selene. And I asked them, so without giving me spoilers, because they had seen it before I had, I said, without spoilers, did it meet your expectations, and were you okay with the mysteries that it left you with? Because I anticipated it leaving me with more mysteries. I didn't think we were going to find out where Della was in this episode. And this person said, absolutely. This episode was nothing like what I expected, yet it gave me just what I needed to be interested in following the story further. But I could see how someone could be upset. I think it was great. I don't have the same criticism of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if how messed up the numbering of the episodes are now, and what's to come.
Yeah, because we don't know the production order beyond the episodes that we've already seen.
Yeah, because I feel a little, and again, knowing that the next three next three episodes deal with, like, I feel a little disconnected from the whole Magica storyline now as well, because I feel like that was so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it'll be good to watch episodes in their intended order if we ever get a new list.
Yeah, and we do have the Money Shark episode coming up, probably in June or July, but I mean, after May, won't be in May, but that's got Lena in it. So it's going to be a little bit before we get into that episode some more. But yeah, I'd like to see the production order for the remainder of the season. I'd say we'll get it once the episode titles have all been released.
Because in my head, I'm trying to figure out, so the season 1 finale, is that going to be, and then the most likely thing it's going to be, that's where we meet, that's the Della Duck reveal, I feel like. But then again, it could also be the Magica Returns reveal.
Yeah, and then you've also got to wonder, will the two stories intertwine? I mean, we're considering them separate stories right now, but is there a chance that the reason that Della's missing or that Della has gone, or from this episode, we're led to believe she was hurt or worse. Does that reason have something to do with Magica?
All good questions.
We didn't even talk about Launchpad. So, all right, so we're at the end of this, but before we do, let's cover Launchpad's part of the story, because although it's small, it definitely had the hardest laughs, at least for me.
Yeah, the whole flashing light and is everything is good light was cracked me up so bad. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, and he dismisses it at first. You know, he's like, you know, maybe it's everything's fine, and then they're like, but what if it's not? And he's like, oh, you're right.
And then at the end, you find out he's taking apart the whole entire plane trying to figure out what was going on.
And he's holding a bolt and says, I think I found it.
So really, it's kind of like a cliffhanger, because you don't know if they got off the island or what happened, because Zeus was starting to get mad after Dewey beat him again. So
it was a great episode, and I can't wait. We've enjoyed watching it, you know, all week. The episodes that we've seen a few times, and I'm with you. I've almost watched The Spear of Selene as many times as all the other episodes.
Yeah,
So,
I just feel like Launchpad episodes, it has a little extra oomph in it that.
and next week might be all Launchpad, or this week.
That's another reason why I feel like it's going to be the best episode of the series.
And it might get a little dangerous.
It's true.
Hey, we want to thank you for listening to this episode of Duck Talks. We enjoy doing this. We enjoy continuing the conversation with you. There's a number of ways that you can continue the conversation with us, and probably the best ways on Twitter. We're at DuckTalks, and we'll be happy to just continue talking about the Spear of Selene, the episodes that are airing, Duck Week, the merchandise, all of that. You know, we're excited to talk about it. We're talking about it anyway, so you might as well join that conversation. You can also check out our blog at ducktalks.com, and we'll hope you enjoy that. Give us some feedback. You can comment on the website, or again, go to Twitter. If you enjoy chatting, we've got a chat that's always got people talking. It's our Duck Talks channel on the Res.tv Discord, and there's always a link to the Discord in our show notes, so you can find it there. If you have a comment or question for us, you can send those to ducktalkspod@gmail.com. We'll read your email on the show, and like we did earlier, we'll discuss it. And we would like to ask that if you listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, we really could use your help in that we could use some reviews. So we've got some good reviews out there, and that gets us rated and makes it easier for people to find us. But the more reviews we have, the easier it is for people to find us. So if you like the podcast, we're not going to ask you this week, because we have in the past. We're not going to ask you this week to give us a 5-star review, but give us the review you think we deserve. And just let others know about this podcast. We just want to share it. We just want to bring other people into the fold of this community. Well, I think that's all the ways that they can reach us. You can also find me on Twitter at Infinirama616, and you can find Pirate Steven at the Pirate Steven. I'm going to do it for you.
Thank you.
And we're going to call that a wrap. So until next time.
See you later, Duck Dudes.
Duck Talks is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, or audio clips played on this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. You wrap this up.
I'm trying to think if I want to say later, quackheads, or.
All right, you think about it. Let me try this again. You think on that.
So hard.
Wow, it's something else to be a podcast about a show that's actually airing on TV. That's not how I want to start this. I'm totally cutting that out.
All right, that's a good comment, Jerry Seinfeld. We're a show about a show.
What do you think of the moon theme from the DuckTalks game? All right, let me quit laughing. Are you still there?
I didn't fall asleep. I just didn't have anything to say.
Okay. You had mentioned it earlier, so I thought we'd talk about it.
No, that was good. I think you said everything we could possibly drain out of that one.
Okay. Cool. And then I was like, well, I guess I could move on, but maybe he's not, he fell asleep that one time.
You couldn't see me. I was nodding. Yeah, I did fall asleep.
Now we're going to move on to talk about the week, blah, 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 blah.
Duck dudes.